What happens to the market in 50 years' time if birth rate continue to decline? As we all know, the goal of long-term investing is to pick stocks funds that have strong potential and/or good track records. Then watch them grow. But what causes that growth? More money coming in than money going out. This has been the case for many decades now, as our population has continued to grow, meaning more and more investors. So what happens when boomers, that hold more wealth than every other generation combined, sell off stock en masse to fund their retirements? Is this something the stock market can ever recover from, given most of us in Gen Z cannot afford a family? So as we age, outflow from the market will continue to exceed inflow. With automation and AI, do we really need to have a stable increased birth rate? The market will change, and it will get worse before it gets better. But the basics will remain the same and it will continue to grow. Just growth in GDP will change from continual upsized production to a market where development, quality, and artistry will become the key factors. These are also much harder metrics than pure large number theory, so it will take time for the system to change. But that is how the economy grows when populations stabilize and/or shrink. African birth rates still high. Calls on Africa. Hear me out. We import a bunch of people. I suppose that companies will have to give out much higher dividends. If we continue to value companies only for their growth, then yes, most companies will start losing worth most likely. And companies will have to compete for a part of a shrinking market, which makes everyone lose except for a few. That won't mean that the companies aren't making any money though. So having dividends that pay for the value of the stock in say 20 years or something will be much more interesting than investing in a stock that risks devaluating with a shrinking market. Look at Japan for an indication. Nikkei 225, their SP topped in the late 80s. Hasn't recovered since. A big reason is declining birth rates. The future isn't set in stone. But I think it's naive to assume stonks only go up will continue forever. Nothing is going to happen. 50 years isn't long enough to feel the impact. Market will adjust, new technologies will emerge. Look at what the market was like 50 years ago and compare it to today. It's vastly different. Yes, but the rate of robots being born continues to accelerate. Just remember that everything will be relative. The deflationary force of population decline may lead to lower earnings of companies. But prices and large would also have to fall then to recalibrate supply-demand. Unless even more is done to kill supply. Or if the currency continues to be inflated away. But regardless of what happens, you want to be on the side that will move no matter what way the wind blows. Which is owning good positive cash-flowing businesses. Ideally purchased at a reasonable price relative to valuation. 50 years is a long time. In 10-15 years there could be a population boom and this won't be an issue. If birth rate declines, demand for robotics, AI and other automation skyrockets. If birth rates skyrocket, then demand for AI and other automation skyrockets because of the need to manage resources and logistics. EMO. Either way, SP 500 and/or NASDAQ 100 are safe bets. Downvote me all you want. This world doesn't need more people, nor the stocks to keep going up forever. It needs better quality of life for all life. Automation will replace a lot of jobs so we can afford having fewer humans with higher quality of life and hopefully consuming less overall, which could lead to a better environment. The world is changing rapidly. The growth mentality is a boomer mentality. I have this dream where the declining birth rate and borders magically being controlled to only allow in productive individuals allows housing and land to become more attainable freeing up more disposable income to allow greater investments in the future of the country, consumer spending, and all that fun stuff that keeps the market strong. I think there will be bigger things to worry about than the stock market if birth rates do what they're projected to do. A declining birth rate also equals an aging population, i.e., non-productive. Our society will collapse. Inverse pyramid, where the majority of the population is old, feeble, and dependent on the minority of the population to provide for them. The numbers won't work. The entire world economy is based on growth. That growth will end. The entire economy must be restructured. It will no be planned. We don't even know what will work. It's going to be messy AF and hurt like hell. Inflation will be there, so you will need more money to survive. Worldwide, the raw number of people going up is fine. China and India account for almost 25% of all births in the world now. Growth will stall to inflation plus technological advances. So 2, 3, maybe 4. Not 8. Fewer babies, fewer consumers, fewer sales, fewer profits. Social security Ponzi schemes will go bust. Economies are designed around constant growth. Impossible yet, but that's how the framers conceived it. Up due to inflation. Economic theory states that eventually, if population is flat, we will reach a steady state, which is the rate of growth from technological innovation alone, which right now we estimate is maybe around 1.5 growth. So you would expect that with zero population growth globally, we would see economic growth around 1. My bet is population doesn't decline from crazy medical advances. Just look at what happened in Japan and their stock market due to aging demographics. The same thing will happen in the US at some point. Much sooner than 50 years. A lot will depend on US immigration policies. However, the types of immigrants that come matter a lot. Are they the ones that can build houses? Or just unskilled labor with no English ability? Or are they also disabled and just want free healthcare and benefits? It will have a negative affect, but the amount of foreign money in the US stock market is astronomical. Part of the reason stock values have become divorced from profits is wealthy people from every other country would rather get 8-10 in the US than a 4 dividend on a stock in their own country. So what happens when boomers, that hold more wealth than every other generation combined, sell off stock en masse to fund their retirements? I'm really hoping that they leave some to their kids, myself included, rather than just liquidate everything and go on a 15-year drug-fueled orgy. I'm fairly certain that a large chunk of money is about to change hands in the next 20-ish years, and a lot of that freed up capital will just be redeployed into companies that are more appealing to the younger generations. That, coupled with automation being a viable alternative to low-skilled labor, I think overall we are going to be fine. With technology we will not most likely need more people to keep economy growing. The ironic thing is that the birth rate decline is likely related to cost of living increases and the lack of a social safety net. People are waiting longer to have kids and or having no kids because they can't afford them. Over time it will put a bigger strain on economies. Hopefully the cost of living stabilizes and then people will start making babies again. Nobody can predict the next day, let alone the next week, month, day, year, decade, or half-century. Don't worry, Gen Z, you're supposed to be poor when you're young. If you make good decisions and work hard, you'll be able to raise a family too. We've all been there. Lower population is better for the nation. SPY will drop below 391 within the next 12 months. Contraction. Expect baby prices to go up.